It is 10:22 in the morning, June 4th, 1942, and the Pacific Ocean is on fire. Not one carrier. Three of the most powerful warships ever built, each one longer than 3 football fields, are burning simultaneously on a blue sea somewhere northwest of Midway Atoll. Black columns of smoke rise thousands of feet and flatten at altitude into a pall visible for 50 miles. The men on the destroyers standing by to pick up survivors can feel the heat from a mile away. In the history of naval warfare, no fleet had ever concentrated so much power in so few ships. In the history of naval warfare, no fleet had ever been so completely unmade in so little time. This is how it happened. More than that. This is how it was made inevitable. Long before those first bombs ever fell. The story begins not at sea but underground, in a basement beneath the Pacific Fleet Headquarters building at Pearl Harbor, a space its occupants called the Dungeon. A small team of American cryptanalysts had been working through the winter and spring of 1942 on Japan's principal naval code, JN-25B. Their commander is Commander Joseph Rochefort. He is brilliant, difficult, and has been sleeping in that basement for weeks, sometimes wearing a bathrobe over his uniform just to stay warm. His team triangulates Japanese radio traffic, maps patterns, fills in fragments. By spring of 1942, they can read enough of Japan's message traffic to understand the outlines of a major offensive being planned somewhere in the Pacific. The target appears in coded intercepts only as AF. Rochefort is certain AF is Midway. He cannot prove it. So he arranges for the base at Midway to broadcast a plain text message in the clear, deliberately interceptable, reporting a water shortage. Within days, a Japanese signal confirms that AF is running short of fresh water. The trap closes. AF is Midway. Rochefort can now give his commander not only the location but the date, June 4th or 5th, and the full order of battle. The man Rochefort briefs is Admiral Chester Nimitz, Commander-in-Chief of the U.S. Pacific Fleet. Nimitz is 56 years old, white-haired, with light blue eyes that rarely betray what he is thinking. His most confrontational declaration, when pushed to his limit, is reportedly, "Now see here." He has no battleships available, no margin for error, and his most experienced carrier commander, Vice Admiral William Halsey, is lying in a hospital bed with a severe skin condition that took him out of the war at the worst possible moment. What Nimitz has is 3 aircraft carriers and a piece of intelligence that might be the most valuable thing in the Pacific. He decides to bet everything on it. The Yorktown, struck hard at the Coral Sea just weeks earlier, damage severe enough that initial assessments said 3 months in dry dock, is rushed into Pearl Harbor on May the 27th. Nimitz tells the repair crews they have 3 days. They work in shifts around the clock. 72 hours later, the Yorktown steams for Midway. The Japanese believe she is already at the bottom of the Coral Sea. Nimitz sends all 3 carriers, Enterprise, Hornet, Yorktown, to a position northeast of Midway designated Point Luck. He does this before the Japanese fleet is anywhere near the area, which means that when Yamamoto stretches his submarine screen across the Pacific, approaches to give early warning of exactly such an American movement. The submarines arrive too late. The American fleet has already passed through. The net Yamamoto, stretched across the Pacific, is watching empty water. The fleet it was designed to detect is already in position, already waiting. Japan does not know this. It will not know it until the bombs are falling. The fleet Japan is sending to Midway is the largest naval armada ever assembled in the Pacific. Over 200 ships in total, battleships, carriers, cruisers, destroyers, submarines, transports. Its commander is Admiral Isoroku Yamamoto aboard the battleship Yamato. 9 18-inch guns, 72,000 tons, the most powerful warship afloat. Heading for a battle that steel alone cannot decide. At the heart of Yamamoto's force is the Kido Butai, the mobile strike force, built around 4 fleet carriers. Akagi, Nagumo's flagship, converted from a battlecruiser hull, over 850 feet of flight deck, her bridge island mounted on the port side in a configuration unique in the world. Kaga, converted from a battleship, the heaviest of the four, carrying 74 aircraft, slow and massive. Soryu and Hiryu, smaller and faster, forming Carrier Division 2 under Rear Admiral Tamen Yamaguchi. Between them, the four ships carry 248 aircraft. They are crewed by men who, in 6 months of war, have not lost a battle. Yamamoto is not a man without self-awareness. He has spent years in the United States, studied at Harvard, served as naval attaché in Washington, and watched American factories with the close attention of someone who understands exactly what they are capable of. He knows Japan cannot fight a long war. He needs a single crushing blow that destroys American carrier power in the Pacific, and he needs it before 1942 is out. Midway is that blow. The four carriers are the weapon. All four of these carriers, Akagi, Kaga, Soryu, Hiryu, were in formation on December 7th, 1941, when the first bombs fell on Pearl Harbor. They are the same ships. Every American sailor heading for Point Luck knows it. June 4th, 1942. 4:30 in the morning. The Kido Butai turns into the wind 300 miles northwest of Midway. The Pacific is still dark. On the flight decks of four carriers, aircraft handlers in white uniforms move aircraft into position by lamplight. Engines cough to life. The smell of aviation fuel sits in the pre-dawn air. 108 aircraft, dive bombers, torpedo bombers, fighters, lift off the decks in sequence and climb into a sky shifting from black to deep blue. Nagumo retains half his aircraft in reserve, armed and ready. His torpedo bombers carry Type 91 aerial torpedoes against the possibility that American warships are found. His dive bombers wait unarmed. This is doctrine. This is prudent. He does not know the Americans are 200 miles to his northeast. He also does not know that a catapult malfunction on the cruiser Tone has just held one of his scout planes on deck for 30 minutes. Each of his scouts covers a specific search sector, slices of ocean radiating outward from the fleet. The Tone's delayed scout is assigned the sector that passes directly over the American carriers. It launches late. It will not complete its route correctly. It will not see what it is supposed to see. At 5:34, an American PBY Catalina from Midway spots the Japanese fleet and radios. Many planes heading Midway. Midway's radar picks up the incoming strike at 5:53, 93 miles out. Marine fighters scramble, Brewster Buffaloes and Grumman Wildcats, outmatched against the Zero escort, but they go up anyway. More than half don't come back. The Japanese strike hits Midway at 6:30. Fuel tanks burn, hangars take hits. Black smoke rises from both islands and hangs there for the rest of the day. But the runways survive. The atoll survives. And Lieutenant Yoichi Tomonaga, the strike leader, flying back over the smoldering atoll, makes a professional assessment. His radio message reaches Nagumo at 7:05. It is clear. A second strike is needed. Nagumo has received no reports of American ships. He makes a decision that, by every measure available to him, is the correct one. At 7:15, he orders his reserve aircraft rearmed. Torpedoes off, bombs on, land attack weapons for a land attack mission. On 4 hangar decks, hundreds of aircraft handlers begin the slow, manual work of changing out the ordnance. Torpedoes, heavy, cylindrical, are pulled off aircraft and set on the hangar deck floor. The clock is running. 25 minutes later, at 7:40, the Tone's late scout finally radios in. Sizable American naval force to the east. Composition unclear. By the time the full report reaches Nagumo, it is 8 o'clock. His hangar decks are 45 minutes into the rearming. His first strike wave is in the air and needs to land. His fighter combat air patrol is cycling through fuel and ammunition. And now, American ships. The question that falls on Nagumo's map table is not a simple one. The composition is still uncertain, his staff argues. If there are carriers, he needs anti-ship weapons. If he launches now, His aircraft go up without fighter escort, against an unknown force, while his flight decks are crowded with returning aircraft and his own deck crews are mid-conversion. He orders the rearming reversed, torpedoes back on. Then a second report contradicts the first. The American composition is uncertain again. He orders bombs back on. Then a third report confirms it. American carriers. At least one. There is no good option. No version of the next 90 minutes ends cleanly. In the chaos of the reversals, men running in two directions at once, ordnance that cannot be properly stowed in the time available, bombs and torpedoes are left where they lie, against the bulkheads of 4 hangar decks, between aircraft, beside fuel lines. The handlers are doing everything that can be done. There is simply no time. Those weapons will not be used against American ships. They will be there when the American bombs come in, unsecured, armed, on the hangar decks of vessels packed with fueled aircraft. The Kido Butai is carrying the instrument of its own destruction. No one in that fleet knows it yet. Before the dive bombers arrive, the torpedo bombers come. Lieutenant Commander John Waldron commands Torpedo Squadron 8 off USS Hornet. He is 41, part Sioux, and he has said plainly to anyone willing to listen what he expects this mission to cost. His words to his squadron before the launch are on record. "If only one plane is left," he tells them, "I want that man to go in and get a hit." VT-8 launches 15 Douglas TBD Devastators without fighter escort. The Devastator is, in the spring of 1942, a kind of sacrifice made of metal. A pre-war design that makes its attack run at 120 miles per hour and 50 feet above the water, slow enough and predictable, enough that it is nearly impossible to miss. There are 30 Zeros waiting above the fleet. The carriers are ringed with anti-aircraft fire. Waldron leads his men in anyway without turning back to the last aircraft. Every plane is shot down. Every man in VT-8 is killed but one. That one man is Ensign George Gay, 24 years old, pulled from his cockpit into the Pacific Ocean. He finds a floating seat cushion and hides beneath it as Japanese fighters strafe the water around him. He will be in the ocean for 30 hours. Waldron's men are not alone. 3 separate waves of torpedo bombers from 3 different carriers follow the same course to the same result. 42 torpedo aircraft attack the Kido Butai. 6 return to their ships. Not a single torpedo finds its mark. By every measure, the men in those aircraft could apply. Hits on the target, mission accomplished, aircraft surviving. Every torpedo attack on June 4, 1942 is a failure. There is a different measure. Every wave of low, slow torpedo bombers had pulled the Japanese Zeros down to sea level, where they needed to be to make their gun runs. The carriers had maneuvered hard to comb the torpedo tracks, their formations scattered across miles of open ocean. And above them, the airspace from 5,000 feet to 19,000 feet, cleared by the deaths of Waldron's men, is empty. Lieutenant Commander C. Wade McCluskey is up there. He has been flying for over an hour. He is almost out of fuel, and he cannot find the fleet. Enterprise's Air Group Commander launched at 7:52 that morning with 2 squadrons of SBD Dauntlesses, 33 dive bombers, each carrying a 1,000-pound bomb. The plan was to find the Japanese carriers where the intelligence said they would be. At 9:20, McCluskey arrives at the calculated intercept point. The ocean below is empty. No carriers, no fleet, blue water and scattered cloud. He begins a box search, pushing further south, then west, burning fuel he cannot replace. His pilots fly without a word. The ocean stays empty. McCluskey is a quiet man. He graduated from the Naval Academy in 1926, flew for 15 years, and was assigned to Enterprise in 1940. He is not a swashbuckler. He is a methodical pilot who is very good at what he does, and what he is doing now is the math on his fuel gauge against the probability that the fleet is still within range. He extends the search. He keeps going. Then, at roughly 9:55, he sees a white line on the water below, a single destroyer heading north at full speed, arrow straight. The vessel is the Arashi, a Japanese destroyer that had lingered behind the fleet to attack the American submarine USS Nautilus, which had been harassing the fleet all morning. The Arashi is now racing at flank speed to rejoin the Kido Butai. From 19,000 feet, McCluskey looks at that wake and follows where it points. Japan's own ship is guiding him in. 10 minutes later, the carriers appear below. Gray rectangles on blue water, their wakes fanning out behind them, the white specks of the escort screen around them. By complete coincidence, at nearly the same moment, Lieutenant Commander Maxwell Leslie arrives overhead with Yorktown's Bombing Squadron 3. 3 squadrons from 2 carriers, converging over the same targets with no coordination, no shared radio net. The airspace above the Kido Butai, cleared by the deaths of 40 torpedo crews, is about to receive them uncontested. Dick Best, commanding VB-6, is set to lead his full squadron down onto Akagi, the Pearl Harbor flagship, when something goes wrong. McCluskey's radio order and Best's simultaneous transmission cancel each other out. Best never hears the instruction. He is ready to push over when Gallagher's VS-6 comes flashing down directly in front of him, followed in quick succession by plane after plane from his own squadron. All of them are diving on the same ship. Not Akagi, Kaga. Best pulls up. Of his entire squadron, only his 2 wingmen, Ensign Fred Weber and Ensign Ed Kroger, close enough to see his signals, hold with him. 27 planes are already destroying Kaga below. He gathers his 2 men on his wings and turns toward Akagi. The attack on Kaga takes 4 bomb hits. A fuel truck parked on the flight deck detonates and kills everyone on the bridge. The fires fed by the ordnance piled on the hangar deck are beyond anything Kaga's damage control parties can contain. She will burn for hours. Best holds his Dauntless in the dive above Akagi. The flight deck fills his bomb sight. He holds through the pull-out instinct, holds through 3,000 feet, holds through 2,500. He releases at 2,000 feet and pulls hard, the G-forces graying the edges of his vision. He does not see where the bomb lands. It penetrates to the upper hangar deck and detonates among aircraft loaded with fuel, armed with the torpedoes and bombs that Nagumo's men had pulled off and piled against the bulkheads in the chaos of the reversed orders. The secondary explosions tear through Akagi from below. She is on fire within minutes. At nearly the same instant, Leslie's bombers hit Soryu. 3 carriers struck inside 6 minutes. The time is 10:22 a.m. Below the surface, in the water between the burning ships, George Gay watches the smoke climb. He has no way to report it. He has no way to know, as Waldron's men were dying, what their deaths were buying. He knows it now, floating under a seat cushion in the Pacific with the whole sky above him on fire. At 10:46, Vice Admiral Chuichi Nagumo, the man who opened the Pacific War, climbs down a rope from his burning flagship to a small cruiser standing by in the smoke. Akagi is still floating. She is past saving. The 4th carrier, Hiryu, is undamaged. Her commander, Rear Admiral Taman Yamaguchi, Princeton-educated, aggressive, the finest carrier officer in the Japanese Navy, assembles what aircraft remain and launches everything. He sends 18 dive bombers north. He is not conceding the battle. Hiryu's pilots find the Yorktown. They hit her twice. She lists hard, loses power. Her crew begins to abandon ship. The pilots return with their report. 1 American carrier destroyed. Yamaguchi launches a 2nd wave. Torpedo bombers. They find a carrier and hit her twice more. Japanese signals go out. 2 American carriers confirmed destroyed. The battle may yet be recoverable. The carrier Hiryu's pilots hit twice was the Yorktown, both times. The same ship. The ghost ship, repaired in 72 hours at Pearl Harbor, sent to a battle Japan didn't know she was attending. Hiryu spent her entire remaining air strength on a vessel Japan had already written off as gone. Not 2 carriers, 1 resilient ship, hit 4 times, refusing to sink. Late in the afternoon, a Yorktown scout locates Hiryu. Enterprise launches a final strike. 4 bombs hit. Hiryu begins to burn. Yamaguchi is offered evacuation. He declines. He removes his cap, hands it to a subordinate, and turns to face the sea. The one Japanese officer who might have rebuilt his Navy's carrier aviation goes down with his ship in the early hours of June 5th. Yamamoto still commands the largest surface fleet in the Pacific. 10 battleships, including Yamato, enough firepower to destroy any American surface force in a night engagement. He orders an advance. Spruance, exercising the same cold composure he showed at sunrise, refuses to pursue into the dark. Battleships without air cover are targets. Yamamoto understands this better than anyone. He cancels the advance and orders a general retreat. It is the first time the Imperial Japanese Navy has retreated since the Russo-Japanese War. The accounting, when it comes, is spare. Japan loses 4 fleet carriers, 1 heavy cruiser, 248 aircraft, and approximately 3,057 men, most of them going down with their ships or dying in the attempt to save them. Among the dead are over 700 aircraft technicians and maintainers, specialists who had taken years to train and could not simply be replaced. Most of Japan's experienced pilots survive Midway. That will not remain true. The majority will be dead by the end of 1942, consumed in the air campaign over Guadalcanal. The United States loses the Yorktown, 1 destroyer, 144 aircraft, and 362 men. The Yorktown herself, struck again on June 6th by the submarine E-168, finally capsizes and sinks in the early morning hours of June 7th, her battle flags flying to the last. Between 1942 and 1944, Japan builds 6 carriers. The United States builds 14. In every industrial category, ships, aircraft, ammunition, fuel, American output exceeds not just Japan, but all Axis powers combined. The weight of history shifts at Midway and does not shift back. But the numbers are not where the story ends. Dick Best flew back to Enterprise on the afternoon of June 4th with something wrong with his lungs. A loose soda-lime canister in his aircraft's oxygen system had exposed him to caustic vapor during the dive. He did not know it yet. Over the following weeks, the damage developed into tuberculosis. He was admitted to a sanatorium in 1942. He would spend most of the remaining war years there, recovering, watching the war continue without him. He never flew combat again. The man who put bombs into Akagi's flight deck with 3 aircraft, the Pearl Harbor flagship, had done it after a communications failure left him alone, with 2 wingmen against a ship he had no right to expect to destroy. He never sought recognition for it. Decades later, when asked, he spoke of it the way men speak of things that happened long ago to someone they used to be. He was finished by a faulty oxygen connection in his own plane. The 4 carriers themselves, Akagi, Kaga, Soryu, Hiryu, none of them actually sank from the bombs. They burned through the afternoon and into the night, and when it became clear they could not be saved, Japanese destroyers and submarines sent them down deliberately to ensure they would not fall into American hands. Soryu went first at 4:10 in the afternoon, Kaga at 7:25. Akagi the following morning, Hiryu at dawn. They lie today at the bottom of the Pacific, in darkness, over 3 miles down. Expedition vessels have found them, their flight decks intact, their structures largely preserved in the cold and pressure of the deep ocean. They are designated war graves. The men who died trying to save them are still there. The 4 ships that launched the Pearl Harbor attack rest in the same ocean they once commanded, 3 miles down, in cold and silence, with 3,000 men, since the morning of June 4th, 1942. The morning that a trap 6 months in the making finally closed. The morning that began with a catapult malfunction and a 30-minute delay, and ended in 6 minutes of bombs falling into weapons that were never meant to be there.